Welcome to Gemara Academy. In this class, we will learn Tosfos Dibra Maschel Midi Dahava Tzidi Rishus Arabim. Let's begin by looking at the flowchart of the Gemara so we could see what Tosfos is coming to explain. So here in the Gemara, we presented our final answer for where do we find that if a person carries from a chanus leplatya derech stov, from a store to the public plaza through the bench area where the sellers would sell their items. So it comes out that he's carrying from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah through a Carmelis. Where do we find that such a case is chayiv? Because the Rabbanan say that in such a case he's chayiv. So the Gemara presents, we find it when a person carries from his house to the road, because when a person carries from his house to the road, he's carrying from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. And the area between the house and the road, because they had an area in between called the Tzidi Rosh Hashanah, was a Carmelis, and he's chayiv for doing such a thing. So we find that if a person carries from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah through a Carmelis, he's chayiv. So this is the part of the Gemara the Tosfos is going to focus on. Let's see the general outline of the Tosfos. The Gemara said that our case is like when a person carries from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah through the Tzidi Rosh Hashanah where he's chayiv. So too in our case, when a person carries mechanus l'pilatya derech stav, he'll also be chayiv. And Tosfos is going to ask, how do we know that in this case the person's chayiv? Our original question was, where do we find that such a case is chayiv? And the Gemara answers that we find that somebody who carries mechanus l'pilatya derech stav is chayiv because somebody who carries from his home to the road through the Tzidi Rosh Hashanah is chayiv. On that case itself, we could ask the same exact question. Where do we see that such a case is chayiv? Where do we find the precedence that one is chayiv for carrying from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah through a Carmelis? So let's see Tosfos now in the flowchart form. The Gemara said that our case is just like when a person carries from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah through the Tzidi Rosh Hashanah. So Tosfos asks, why is it more simple to us that through the Tzidi Rosh Hashanah is chayiv more than through a stav? It's basically the same exact case. From Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah through a Carmelis. The specifics were different. One was a chanus leplatya derech stav, and one was from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah through the Tzidi Rosh Hashanah. So why is the second case more simple to us and acceptable that we say, oh, that's chayiv, and now we can see that such a case is chayiv, more than just saying directly in the case of stav that it's chayiv? And Tosfos answers, because it was normal to have an area between a person's Rosh Hashanah and a Rosh Hashanah. It's normal to have a Tzidi Rosh Hashanah, a space in between, and that's how it probably was in the Mishkan as well. So it comes out that in the Mishkan, when they carried from the Rosh Hashanah to the Rosh Hashanah, it was through the Tzidi Rosh Hashanah, since that's a common thing to have, and that's how we could understand the Gemara. When the Gemara says, where do we find that such a case is chayiv? When we bring the case of Tzidi Rosh Hashanah, what we're really saying is that that's how we find it in the Mishkan, because in the Mishkan they would have a Tzidi Rosh Hashanah between the Rosh Hashanah and the Rosh Hashanah. So to summarize Tosfos, we get the explanation that the reason why this case is understandable to us and we accept that as an answer is because it's a normal thing to have happened, and that's how it probably was in the Mishkan. And since it was in the Mishkan, it's going to be chayiv because the malachas of Shabbos are learned from the Mishkan.